All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 3. Episode 3.
We're here already.
Who would have thought we would have made it to the 3rd episode? Honestly, not me. Because it took so long
I
to
love
get
that you
from
have confidence.
episode 1
in us.
to get to record episode 2 and then 3. It just took us a while. But we're busy. You're
happens,
busy, I'm
right?
busy,
Yeah.
everybody's busy.
Right.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot of different stuff over the course of the show. Oh, so this is Mike and the Maven. Sorry, I should introduce the show. Tara Burney, Mike Ham.
Hey.
Tara, what's up?
What's up?
What's up? Okay, cool. So we still have this list, the list of Tara, in front of us.
Old school.
Tara's list.
My list.
So last episode, I know we talked a lot about travel stuff. We went through the list first.
Yes.
We hit on a bunch of different topics.
Right.
Tickled them.
So let me go through the list real quick.
Yeah.
These were our topics. Dating.
Okay.
Back to school, meaning school stories.
Right.
Travel, which we talked about in episode 2. Jobs, job hunting, quietly quitting. Do you know what that is? I didn't. You know what? I didn't bring up like celebrity news and stuff that's happening in celebrity world, but we can go over that. Growing up, yoga, and mental health.
Yeah. We also learned that I've just recently begun the process of becoming an actual traveling adult, getting my first passport at the age of 32. But you know,
Never too late.
Never too late. There's
Never
no
too
time
late to do anything.
like the
really.
present.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. I know we talked about travel last time, as we said. Where do you feel this 3rd episode kind of going? Is there one in particular you are just like, I really want to talk about this one today?
Well, I really like the job part, but we kind of hit on that.
We did a little bit, yeah.
On part 2.
We talked about
and
quiet
mental
quitting
health.
and Irish goodbyes, which are similar,
Which
but
are
different.
similar but different.
Yeah. Okay. So we
Can
don't
you
have.
Irish goodbye your job? You probably can't. Then you'd get fired.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like quitting just without
They'd
giving
be like,
notice.
"Where is Mike?"
Yeah,
He
it's not
left.
quiet quitting. It's just straight up. You're like quiet, just leaving. Like
Yeah.
you're literally quitting at that point.
Right.
Not.
But then you just make it sound nicer, and you're like, "Oh, I just Irish goodbye my job."
Yeah. Yeah, but then you like burn bridges. You don't want to burn bridges if you're in
No,
that scenario.
no.
Because you never know. You never know who you're going to run into again.
No.
You know?
No, I don't think I've ever burned a bridge at work.
Yeah, I don't think
Or
so. I don't
in my
think I
career.
have, but I'm sure people have been upset that I've left certain jobs. But, you know,
Yeah.
that comes with the territory of being in that kind of environment, I guess.
But what I have found is really good relationships in jobs.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, just curating great friendships and that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
it's come back to help because
Yeah, that's huge.
I'm looking for a job now, and people are reaching out to me and
Right.
saying, "Hey, I heard this, or I saw this, or why don't you contact this person?" And or if there was something I could give you, I would do it. Or
Yeah.
so it's important, I think, to obviously no matter even if you hate the job,
Yeah,
quit in a nice way,
right.
Because you never
Some
know.
respect, some
Yeah.
class. Yeah, you don't want to do that like,
You
know,
never know what's going to come
bail.
back and bite you. Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so I don't know. It's back to school, dating, working out.
We've talked about dating quite a bit, so why don't we hit that one this episode?
Okay.
Not that we've talked about it on this show,
No,
but I know
you and I have talked
You've
about
brought
dating.
up that topic several times as something that you wanted to talk about. So
Yeah. And I think you and I have talked about, I mean, we've just from the time that we've known each other,
yeah,
our dating history has changed. And we,
Oh, yeah, for
right?
sure.
And we're both sort of in the same kind of boat of swiping.
I don't swipe anymore.
No. I'm saying we were.
Let's not put that out into the universe.
No. I'm
'cause-
not swiping either. I'm saying when you and I first met as friends,
Yeah.
I'm just saying we were in that state each of doing that. And
when
then
we first met, I was in a relationship then.
yeah,
and
but
then,
you broke up like a week later.
Yeah,
2 weeks later.
2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, it is
It
what
happens.
it is.
It
Not
happens.
every relationship is meant to work out.
No, it's a learning experience.
Yeah, you learn about yourself. That's key.
100%. So
It's a
what did
matter
you
of, like,
learn so far, not just from that particular relationship, but just in the relationships that you have been? What have you learned about yourself that has helped you with other relationships?
So I would just say, I think in other relationships, I think that I always tried to put someone else before me. You know what I mean? Like kind of like their issues or their needs or their wants or whatever, kind of like above my own stuff.
Right.
And then I think the more that I kind of have progressed through life, the more I realized like, well, I matter too. That kind of
Yes.
thing. But I think it's a balance for sure, because it's just a different kind of environment when you're with someone. But I think I would always try to like push those way down to a point where I would just get to a point where I was kind of resentful almost. And then
That they
just
weren't
kinda,
giving back to you as much?
Well, just because I
As
just
the
felt
same?
like I kind of like lost all the stuff that I was, happy about or that excited me or whatever.
I see.
So making sure that like I'm taking the time to do stuff for me
Mm-hmm.
in order to, keep moving forward and doing the right stuff, and making sure that like I'm healthy, which will in turn hopefully make a relationship healthy.
100%. I mean, you can't give to somebody else if you're not happy with yourself, right? So how
Yeah.
can you give joy and happiness and love and comfort and listening and all of that if that's not in you,
Right.
First and foremost,
Yeah.
right? And if you're coming in as sort of, a wounded bird and as a broken person, it's kind of hard to give, and you're sort of sometimes artificially giving.
Yeah.
And I think I
You
felt
got to fill the cup back up.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Exactly.
sorry to cut you off.
No. That's exactly it. And I think I fell into that for myself. There was things that I was just searching for and needing for me and trying to find it from somebody else, as opposed to almost self-soothing myself. So I was
Yeah.
looking for somebody to just constantly be with, just to be, like to find the comfort, to find companionship. And those are things that I want, and, and everybody wants
Sure.
in a relationship.
Yeah.
But I was looking at it the wrong way.
Right. Well, I think what's also interesting is not the right word, so I apologize, but like your path has been a lot different than maybe others' paths.
Yes.
Kind of like being high school sweetheart, married for a long time,
Right.
Everything that happened with that, and then now kind of like re-entering, not now, but have
No,
been
it is. It's
re-entered.
different, right? So for people who don't know, I was married for many years, over 20 years, married to my high school sweetheart, and had a loving, wonderful relationship. Have 2 daughters, and then he passed away suddenly. It'll be 5 years, and so there is a lot that comes with that, obviously, in
Sure.
just regular healing as a human. But then when is it okay? When is it right? There's no handbook or rule book to say like when it's okay to start dating again.
Right. Because everyone has their own opinion.
Everybody has their own opinion, but everybody has their own inner guide, right?
Yeah.
And when is that time ready? But I can speak, and there's probably other widows out there. I still don't like that term. It's kind of weird, but people who, maybe have lost somebody, or even if they didn't lose them, just out of a relationship and
Yeah.
looking for another one, right? But in my particular sense, it's like, how these are the things that you go through. Will I be able to ever love somebody again? Right?
Right.
It will never be the same kind of love.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
And that's
Yeah.
every relationship is different too. But in my case, that's it. And then also it's like, there's other factors. I do have 2 daughters. I have a family. I'm, from my side and his side. And, so there, all of that like sort of musters up in you of like, you just keep thinking of everybody else instead of yourself.
Yeah.
And that was my problem. What will this person think? What will that person think? Is the person I'm going out on a date with okay to meet those people? Like
Yeah.
that whole thing. There's
Yeah.
so much that's involved.
There's a lot of
you
hair
know?
on that.
There
Yeah.
is a lot of hair on that. And so it took me a while to kind of process that and get through that and realize like all of that matters, but first and foremost, what matters is me and how I am going to be with somebody, and then
Right.
being able
'Cause
to.
you got to get yourself back to neutral.
Exactly.
Almost,
Yes.
and I'm sure like that's a whole process. I mean, coming off of something that you went through obviously is different, but like even coming out of a relationship that just doesn't work out. I mean, like
Same,
there's
you're
also
right.
like a timeline, and
Yeah, like
we
a
said,
reset,
everyone's
yeah.
timeline is different and takes different amounts of time. But you need that. Like you can't just like I made the mistake once of going out of a 2-year relationship and then just jumping right back into like something really fast, and it was not good. It wasn't
boy.
good. It was a pretty wild 3 months, but Yeah, and like that was probably like my lowest point, just like kind of in life.
Did you feel like you needed to, because some people need to be in a relationship. They cannot be by themselves at all. Did you feel at that time like vulnerable and you needed to be in?
Well, I just wanted it to be like it was like a distraction almost.
Okay.
So I was just like, I wasn't like, I know mental health stuff is on the list. That's like a whole thing that kind of like my path has kind of taken me down a lot of different roads. But it was like that moment, I was just like, I didn't want to deal with what was going on. I was miserable and whatever, and was just like, oh, this person showed like the slightest bit of interest in me, so well, they must be the one now. You know? So like we just kind of went like full steam ahead, and it wasn't good. But yeah, and then kind of like wisened up, cut that one off.
Right.
And then that was like, that whole process was pretty crazy too. But yeah, and then had to go through some therapy stuff.
Okay, good.
Some different things like that,
That's good.
which, I didn't like, but I think it was helpful.
Therapy is hard. I don't. Some people say they like therapy, but it can be a difficult process.
Yeah. Well, I just had like a weird kind of experience with it. So
Weird in what?
Yeah, I'll tell you.
Okay. Well,
So-
maybe that'll be our episode 4, mental health.
Oh, you want to hold on to that one?
Yeah, I think that's
All right,
I think
I'll
that's a
hold on to
nugget
it. I'll
that
hold on
needs
to
to.
that
So
story.
now you guys have to stay tuned for episode 4 to hear
Yeah.
what Mike's weird story is
Yeah,
about.
I'll never go to therapy again because of this story. And it's not even like the therapy was bad. It was just
Okay.
it
Well,
just
hold
was- yeah.
just hold that thought.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So going back to.
All right. So then
Okay. So
the
you had to go
timeline.
through some self
Yeah.
help kind of
Sure.
thing.
And here we are. You wouldn't even know.
And you're
I hide it so well. Just push it all down as far as I can.
right.
It's great.
Swallow it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So back to dating.
Yeah.
And getting back back to it. And I think that's for anybody who's been in that dating field of, coming out of relationships. And no matter what age you are, I feel like that's sort of the same issues for everybody, and then in my case, jumping in and being like, where do I even meet somebody?
Like, yeah, where do you go?
How do
Like online dating
how do you do that?
it sucks. It's terrible.
And then when a couple of my friends who were divorced, they were like, you should do that. And I was like, I am not going online to date.
Yeah.
But then realized that's the only place, really. It's not the only place, but
It's a place.
at that time, it's a place to go.
And it increases your pool
It does,
tenfold.
right.
Because you just have instant access to a lot of people all at once.
Right.
But at the same time, it's still just like
Holy hell.
crazy.
It's just, how do we explain online dating? Like app dating. So you're swiping left, you're swiping left, you don't like, right, you do like, and people are become disposable, which is crazy.
Yeah,
and
it's
it's very superficial. And even though you're putting on your profile, like, things about you, and then you start texting within the app, the other person, and, it instantly leads to, I've had, we could be talking about the weather, and then all of a sudden there's a picture.
Oh. How come people send those?
I don't know. And I was just, and what made you think that
Just like unsolicited.
it's okay, one.
Right.
And two, that I would be like,
Oh, you know what? That's what I'm looking for.
now you sealed the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had another guy send that. We were supposed to go on a date. Up to that point, we were fine. And then we were going to go on a
So
date.
you haven't even
that
met him
weekend.
in person?
I never met him in person. We were texting back and forth because, you have to get to know somebody, make sure they're not a serial killer.
Right.
And
Yeah,
we were-
public places only. First
Exactly.
time.
Oh my God, 100%.
Yeah.
And we were going to go out on this date. We were set for like coming up, whatever, a couple of days. And he was like, oh, looking forward to meeting you. I was like, oh yeah, oh my gosh, like 2 more days, it'll be great. We were having a good conversation. And all of a sudden he sent a picture of his junk. And I was like, are you at work right now? Because it was like at 2:30 in the afternoon. And he said, I am. And I was like, in your office? And I was like, is that a stock photo, or is that like, you just took that? He's like,
Yeah.
I just took it.
Oh my God.
I was like, who are you? And I said, okay, so you're at work. And he said, I just want to let you know what you're getting into. Now, Mike,
that's not how to do it.
I don't want to take down the whole male race.
Hey, we're not.
But
we don't do ourselves any favors.
Yeah, you're not doing any favors by doing that. So instantly, I had no response to that, and I just blocked him. But my thought process was, why? Why? Just why?
Yeah.
Everything was going fine. And do you really think at that point, like, what I was getting into? Like, we were going to meet for coffee to see
if you want to go out.
And how many times has he done this? And who does it work for?
Well, it must. I mean, honestly, like, it must work on some people, because if it didn't, or we generally are pretty dumb, but you would think that eventually you'd just be like, oh, this doesn't work.
Right.
I'll try something else. Yeah.
I don't know. So I had a handful of those, which was interesting. So we didn't even go out on dates. But
that just
clearly,
the way you said that is funny, but not for. I didn't mean it that way.
Right.
Anyway, so that doesn't work.
Work.
But that's the thing. It's like everyone knows that doesn't work, or at least doesn't seem like
sending junk.
Sending
pictures of your junk does not work.
Just out of the blue.
Men, I'm just letting you know.
Out of the blue.
We don't like it.
Yeah. It could be the nicest one.
Still don't want it.
Just not gonna make it work.
Nope.
No.
Yeah. So, but then I actually, I went out on dates with some nice men, which was nice.
Well, that's good.
But it just, it's a process too, because it takes a minute to figure out what you're looking for and what you want. And then, and I think that was my aha moment, not that junk picture, but.
That's aha, right?
This is what I don't want. I found it. Yeah.
More of a haha.
Yeah, more of a haha for sure. No, I got to a point where I said, okay, let me step back and really think about what I want and what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And not only that, but what I need, and that's okay to ask. Because before I was like you, I was just the giver. Give. Like whatever you want, whatever you need, whatever, just not like me, but just like I was afraid again that they would go. And so I just, kept giving and giving and giving. And then I realized like, okay, what do I need?
Right.
And I never put that out there.
Yeah.
And it was until I was like, you know what? I know what I need and what I want and what I like and what I don't like. And then I was able to sort of chill and just kind of be in that space and come at it from a different angle. And I think that helped sort of calm my fears about not ever meeting somebody, because that was my thing too. I was like, I'll never meet somebody, somebody who is okay.
Fits what you're looking for.
And nobody's ever. I don't think there's a perfect relationship ever.
No, I don't think so either. But I think it's like the imperfections are kind of part of it. Mm-hmm. Like you need to be willing to accept that there will be some imperfections to different things. Mm-hmm. It doesn't, like if it's a red flag, run.
Yes.
Run.
Yes. What is a big red flag for you?
Oh, I mean, I could just run down a couple.
Okay,
I know
go ahead.
Jealousy is a big red flag, obviously. Mm-hmm. That has been
right. It's not cute or flattering.
No,
like you shouldn't be flattered.
I mean, like I think like there's always going to be like some layer of jealousy. I think, mm-hmm. But I think there's points where it can get just like obsessive and like I went out whatever one of the times that I was going out with a girl, it would be to a point where like there were certain movies that like I couldn't watch because they had certain actresses in them who may have been objectively attractive, and they're like, you can't watch that. I was like, why? It's a movie.
That's heavy. Yeah.
It was like that level. And like, me being an idiot, I was like, okay.
Right.
And then, after a while you're just like, oh, this is not normal.
Right.
Like
that's beyond jealousy. I think that's controlling and obviously mistrust, which you always have to go back and then look at that person's life and where they came from.
Sure.
And what's behind
and I'm sure this sounds weird, but I'm sure that there is someone that they could meet that is going to be like cool with that and like that it doesn't affect them in any way.
Right.
Like being controlled, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I was not that way, I guess, or am not that way because I think that's a hard way to live your life.
Sure.
But yeah, somebody
Yeah,
for everybody, I guess.
That's a big red flag.
Yeah.
All right, what's another red flag?
You got to give me one now because I just gave mine.
Oh, jealousy. Red flag is when there is only like a one-sided conversation the entire time. So it's always, I guess, sort of a
I think you've told me about this
narcissistic kind of.
Like they're asking you questions, but then they're answering it
Right.
from their own perspective.
From their own perspective.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you just asked me a question. Don't you want to hear my
Right.
answer?
Yeah.
And then that sort of leads into, I realize then that particular person will never be the person that I want. Like I want affection. I don't need to be doted on or like, spoiled in that way. But I just, what is that thing with the, like your affirmations or whatever, or, people would say like, oh, I crave touch. I crave.
Oh, your love language.
Love language, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm a big quality time guy.
quality time is good.
Yeah. I think I took a test once and that was mine.
Quality
but time.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah. Because I don't want to, but what also, sorry, I'm just going to.
You're not cutting me off. No, this is a conversation.
But so the, because you just said about how one side, I don't want it to be one-sided. From the quality time side, another red flag, since we're on the topic before I forget, is like there's quality time and then there's just like too much time.
Good point.
So, and I'm not saying that like
where it's smothering.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like everything we do, we have to do it together. We need to be like attached at the hip all the time.
I don't want that.
I don't want that, because like, like you're in a relationship to be with someone and, have that companionship.
Right.
But at the same time, like we said before, you still need to do stuff kind of like on your own,
100%.
There's been times where it's like the best part of the week is like they go out for a girls' night or whatever, and I could just like sit on the couch, play video games, drink some beers, and like make myself a steak or something.
Right. Exactly.
And like
that feels
me
good.
up.
Yes,
Right.
that does fill you up.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's what we talked about before. If you can't do that, if you don't have that for yourself, the relationship isn't going to be great. Because if it's just this sort of combined, melded thing, where you lose the identity of each person, it's going to be a disaster. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I definitely need that too, where it's, you are great when you're together and you're doing those things that you like to do together or explore, obviously when you're in a new relationship too, you're finding out about each other, right? So it's like you may do things that I've never done and great, show me,
right.
let me see, explore with you,
like
and then
new
vice
interests
versa.
And different
right,
things
so you
like
do
that.
those things together. But in the same sense, if like you have a hobby and I've never done it before, I'm not going to be all up in your hobby because that's your thing, that's your space, that's what you do, know. And then I want that alone time too. Like I said, you come together, you do things, fun, but then peace out. I need to go chill and be by myself and
go out with the boys, go out with the girls, whatever.
Exactly.
Like that stuff's good, important too.
Because
like you need to make sure that you're taking care of those relationships as well. So
right,
like
which you said you fell into the trap last time where you weren't doing that, right? You kind of, in that one relationship, you forgot it all, right? And you just sort of...
Like all the stuff that like really excited me. I mean, granted, I did pick up podcasting right before the most recent one. But like that was something like all the stuff that I used to like to do. And granted, COVID kind of squashed a couple of those because it was just like was hard to do during 2020. But now like I'm just like rediscovering some of those things that I like to do. Like I always like to cook, and then I just like didn't, and then now I like last week made myself a beautiful dinner.
Do tell.
So I had interviewed Tina Marcelli from Marcelli Formaggi. They're in Clifton. They have a family farm in Italy. So they import cheeses and pastas and honey and olive oil, and it
all
is
of it. I want all of it.
Fire.
Yes.
Like we did a whole with like 13 cheese tasting during the interview. We like took a shot of olive oil at one point because it's like super clean and like first cut whatever that is.
On Greetings from the Garden State.
Yeah, this is Greetings from the Garden State. This episode hasn't posted yet. It's not going to post till probably October. So then she gave me like all this shit to take home, like pasta, olive oil, this other cheese that has like she calls it like unicorn cheese. So it's like aged cheese, but on the inside is butter.
What?
So like you can grate it, and it's like cheese and butter kind of like all together.
My mouth is literally watering.
Yeah, I should have brought it. I could have brought it. It's in my fridge. Anyway.
Wow.
But I'll finish it. And so she gave me that. So then, I had all this stuff, and I was like, I'm going to make this tonight.
Yeah.
Because I have a bad habit of like, because I'm out all the time, like
Right.
on the road or
Right.
out doing the show or out whatever. Like, I just have a bad habit of it's like 8 o'clock at night. I have no food in the house. I'm just going to get pizza or I'm going to get whatever, which is not, I don't know if you're aware, not the healthiest option.
Oh, it's not?
Like that and a couple drinks, and then, you just feel like shit the next day.
Yeah.
So I was like, I went to Wegmans, got like shrimp and got some other stuff, and then came back. So I made the pasta.
Nice.
I like got pancetta. So I
Yes.
fried that up, made it crispy.
Go on.
Cooked the shrimp, and then I'll show you a video that I have of it
Okay.
off mic. But so the shrimp, the pancetta, the pasta with the olive oil, and then I grated the butter cheese on, and then put like some scallions on top. Phenomenal. One of the best dinners I've ever made in my entire life.
See?
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, and it made me feel good. Because I was
Yeah.
like, this is great.
You did it for you.
Had a couple bourbons. Like, I was feeling good. Like, it was a good night. Yeah.
Right, but doesn't that feel great? And then to have that experience, and then, if you are with somebody, then you share it with them and say, oh my God, I had a great night last night. I did this for myself, and it felt great,
Yeah.
And if they're a good person, they should be like, that's amazing. I'm
Right.
so happy you had that moment.
Yeah.
And that's what we're looking for. That's, that's what we need. You can't be, you can't nourish others unless you nourish yourself. You really have to really put in the work.
Yeah, you got to make some deposits in the piggy bank. You can't just be taking money out all the time.
Just can't withdraw all the
Doesn't
time.
happen. Yeah.
Doesn't work.
Yeah. And I think the other thing, too, is just like from just like a support level. Because like part of, my stuff is I'm doing stuff like this, which is beyond, this is like a hobby, but also something that I want to build into something that can make me consistent money, and like having a support system for that obviously is important, because if you don't have that, then like you're on an island all by yourself and you can't make it work.
Right. That's when you don't want to be alone. You definitely need.
Well, you need to be alone to get the shit done. But at the same time, like you need to.
If you have a significant other, then if they should be there to help support you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that was Greg that you just heard run up the stairs.
Who's here?
Greg is the cat. He was just here. He probably, if you're on YouTube, he probably walked by you.
Oh yeah, maybe.
And then he ran up the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So what's the current state of dating? Where are we at?
So I'm in a relationship right now.
Good.
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
And from what I understand, didn't come from a dating app, which is great.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the dating app thing got to be to a point where it was like another full-time job.
Sure.
And I already basically have like 6.
Yes.
So like that was
that
just
one
getting,
you don't get paid for either.
Yeah, it was, and you pay for it.
Okay. Greg is now crying. He wants to be on the podcast.
Poor Greg. But like that was something where it was like too much. Wait, what was I just talking about?
Apps.
Oh yeah,
Working.
it was too much
Yeah.
for me to kind of like handle bandwidth wise.
Yeah.
Because it's just like you're, talking to a bunch of different people all at once.
Right.
And like I was always a big proponent of like you don't sit on the chat thing for long. Like you got to go out.
Yeah.
Because you got to meet somebody. Because anybody can be anybody on a text or an app or
100%.
whatever.
Yes.
Just go.
Got to
Just
get
out.
a face-to-face.
Go out, get a drink, get dinner, go out for coffee, whatever. And it was just getting to be too much. And then like I had known this person, and then a mutual friend we had kind of just like put the bug out there, and now we've been going out for a couple months now, I guess, which is cool.
Right.
So it's been good. No spoilers.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's
But it was like a genuine thing because we had already kind of known each other before, and like never even thought about it, and then then it kind of got some legs, and now here we are.
And I think that's more organic, and that's as humans, I think that's the way we were kind of supposed to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, keep talking. I'm just gonna reset the camera.
Okay, the camera has putzed out.
Yeah. Keeps telling us we're talking for way too long.
Right. Well, we have stuff to say.
Yeah, we got things to talk about.
We got things to talk about. People like this because they're in the same position. I mean, when I talk to other people about dating. I mean, I have friends that were on dating apps too. And some people meet their person on dating. I mean, obviously they're there for a reason.
Sure.
And they
There is
do
a
work.
purpose behind it. Yeah.
You know, so I'm just poo-pooing the bad part of it. And I did have some good experiences from it.
Yeah, of course. Same.
Right.
You know, I
Yeah.
mean, most of my relationships were actually from those. I mean, granted, none of them ultimately worked out.
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean,
you know,
that
it's
could,
all part of it.
Right.
I think, like we said before, it increases your pool, so you
Yes.
get to meet more people, and then by that token, you learn things that you like and things that you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
So then, as you can make better guesses, because that's really you're making an educated guess
Yes.
to pursue someone.
Yeah, it's
You
like
can
a
make
science
better,
experiment,
Yeah,
right?
better guesses by meeting more people, and then being like, oh, this person has these boxes that I like. You know.
Yeah.
They seem to not have many or any. If there's one red flag, I feel like that's,
holding up a fish in your
that's
picture.
enough.
Also, I don't know if women do it, but
I haven't seen a lot of women holding fish.
men
pictures.
love to show off the fish they catch.
Yeah.
I don't know why they think that's going to catch a woman, but
Well, it shows that you're one with
Sporty?
like, nature. Yeah, you're outdoorsy.
is that what it is?
I don't know. I don't have any. I think I have one picture in my phone of me holding a fish.
Yeah.
And it's literally like that big.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, a sunny.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in the game, right? There's, you know, I think I had to get over that too. Like I felt very shameful at certain points in dating, you know, just because of my situation. I was like,
Yeah.
is this okay? Am I allowed to do this?
Right.
And so I think
Did it ever? Sorry.
Yeah.
Did it ever like from like his family side? Was that something that was like difficult to?
it's an interesting question because I
navigate?
don't talk to them about it, and they've never talked to me about it until
Remind me, it was like 4 years ago that he passed away. Is that
it'll
right?
be 5. It'll
Will
be 5 in September 2nd. I never talked about it. I never really talked about it with anybody. Like my friends would know, obviously my daughters would know
Sure.
it's dating and stuff.
Yeah.
But I never got to a point where I found somebody worthy
Right.
to bring.
Yeah, because that's a big thing.
It's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And especially to his family, who I'm still very close with, and I love them and adore them and respect them wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And it did come up once because I brought a guy to a concert just as a date. It was like a second day. I was like, hey, I have the extra ticket. You want to come?
Sure.
And I thought, that's a fun date,
Yeah.
right?
What was
So
the
he
concert?
came, Tedeschi Trucks.
Oh, that's your jam. Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah.
And my brother-in-law was there. So my husband's brother was there. And I didn't know he was going to be there, but I was like, oh, hey, this is this guy. And, you know, this is Dan, whatever. And so he had gone back. And,
What's up, Dan?
he had gone back and told his mom, John's mom, and said, you know, that I brought a friend, right? And so I think that opened, so I saw her like the next day or 2 days later or something, and I think that opened up the door for her to bring it up to me. And it was a lovely conversation where she said, you know, please, if, you know, we just want you to be happy.
Yeah.
You know, we want you to find somebody, you know, if there's somebody that you ever want to bring around, you know, please do so. Don't ever feel hesitant. If never, you know. So it was,
Well, that's cool.
it was amazing, right?
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, again, I respect the feelings that they're going through
Right.
with it all too,
Of course.
right?
Yeah. Because
And so it's a lot. So I had a lot of that to process, and I think people who lose somebody and are, you know, do have family and their kids and all that, like it's a lot to bring in. And I hear this from divorced people too.
Sure.
You know, when the first time you bring home that new person, that's all you're thinking about is how will they be received? Not like if I'm happy because I'm with this person, but
Right.
more like
What are they gonna think
What are
about
they
me?
going to think of him? And he's not your person.
Yeah.
From before.
Right.
Right. And they never will be.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of that goes into it. But I had to get to a point where I finally realized no one will ever replace my husband. No one will ever, you know, replace my mother-in-law's son. You know, like that will never happen.
Right.
And I'm never looking for that because I never want to replace him, right?
yeah.
What I'm looking for, and I've been seeing somebody for a couple months now too, and he's that, you know, he's somebody who is all the things that we were just talking about, right?
Sure.
Having this wonderful time having wonderful times together, enjoying each other's company, really genuinely interested in each other and what each other is doing, and asking questions and learning about each other. Makes me laugh. He's very attentive. He's aware. He's all of those things that I was looking for, right? Or that somebody should have, like, they're good qualities.
Yeah,
right.
Right.
And
He's a
then
good person.
He's a
That's
really,
cool. Yeah.
really good person. And, and it's like, shocker.
Yeah,
that's what
so
we
weird. Yeah, odd that's how it works out.
Odd. We should be with good people. Yeah. And so that's the thing. I had to, and oddly enough, did not meet him on an app. It was through a friend of mine, a male friend of mine, who said, I have somebody, I think that you guys would get along great.
Yeah.
And I think going into it with no pretense whatsoever, I didn't even know what he looked like because he has no social media. But I said, you know what? Let me just give it a shot because, I mean, how bad could it be?
Right.
It can't be any worse than, than what I went through on those dating apps.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm to a point where I'm here and I'm just kind of being in this moment with him, and it's delightful and it's lovely, and if it moves forward and if it feels okay and it feels good to come and meet. I mean, he's met my daughters, and he's met some of my friends, but like with the family, that's a whole nother.
Yeah, that's heavy.
Level. It is heavy, and it's and
it's like one of those things, like, you just need to be sure, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to just bring any
exactly
Tom, Dick, or Harry home. Not to name names, but
sorry, Tom, Dick, or Harry. You're not making the cut.
But just because, and even just I've always thought that too. Like, people that I'm going to bring home, there needs to be like some skin in the game. Like, I'm invested in this one.
Of course, that's with anybody, any relationship, no matter what your previous situation was. I mean, it's a big deal. It's now an extension of you, right? So, it has to be good. It has to be something or someone, I should say, that's good for you in order to be good for them.
Right.
Like the family, meaning, or friends, or that kind of thing.
Exactly. No, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So it's a lot. Dating in general it's a lot. It was a lot. It is a lot.
Oh, it's something.
It's
yeah.
It's something.
But right now it seems like.
Do you think you'll ever get married? I'm not saying to necessarily this particular person, but I do. Actually, let me rephrase. Do you like the?
No, I'm gonna die alone. Chalk that one up. If you ask my grandma, she's always very worried about me. And I was like, why?
Not getting married?
Yeah. She's like, well, you're 32. I'm like, that's not old. So.
It's not old. Yeah, but you have to think their generation was married by the time they were 17.
Well, she's been with my grandfather since they were 16.
Yeah, see, that's a totally different generation.
It's a different world.
And then you just stay together because you're supposed to.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that your grandparents don't love each other, but
of course. Yeah, well, they've been together for like 70 plus years now.
Yeah.
Because they're both late 80s.
God,
my grandfather's 89, she's 88. She just turned 88 earlier this week. And they've been together since they were 16, so it's like 72 years.
Right. But there's something to be said about that too, I mean, they probably have an underlying friendship, if anything,
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time.
Pretty incredible. Okay, so my question is, do you like the idea of marriage?
Yeah, I think so.
Like marriage itself, like you have to say I do, or just like an actual commitment to one another is good enough?
I don't know. I think making it real. I think that's
okay.
What I would want. I would imagine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, it's like those are things that like are in the future, I guess. And I've become more like focused on. I always used to like worry about stuff that was going to happen. Like,
right, will I get married? Will I have kids? Will I have a job? Will I buy a house? Like all that.
Yeah, what's going to happen to me next week? You know what I mean? Like,
right. Well, you
like
can't.
That.
Who knows?
Exactly.
What's going to happen as soon as you get out of this chair?
Right. So I just tried to be as just kind of like present, and we're just going to kind of like take it day by day and not get wrapped up in stuff that's out of my control down the line. that's not.
No, the only reason I asked that, and I didn't mean about the relationship that you're in, I just meant in general, because I find it interesting that young people, I say that because, like, people your age, you youngins, you youths, are still doing, like, the big old getting married. And no matter how far and progressive and, like, trendy and cool we've come along with so many other things, or things that we've lost the tradition for so many things because it's just not cool or whatever anymore, I still find it very interesting that younger people are really, like, going full force with the big old marriage still. And I don't know.
Well, I think and now I'm sure that this is not meant for everybody that gets married now, but I do think, like, you know, the like all the stuff that kind of goes into it. I think that's like you see people doing it, like, on social media type stuff, and it's, like, elaborate and cool and whatever, and you need to show that, like, your love is better than everyone else's love. You know, I think that's part of it. Yeah. So I think that's kind of, like, perpetuated why that happens.
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point.
I don't know if that's true or not. I pulled that out of my ass just now,
right.
But
no, but it is a good point, because obviously if it doesn't happen on social media, then it didn't happen.
Did you even get married?
Right? Do you really even love each other?
Right.
So I get that point, but I mean, there is a huge expense that's going on with all of these weddings.
My sister got married last year, almost coming up on their 1-year anniversary pretty soon, and, like, so that was kind of like my first person view, but, you know, not me personally, but on what kind of goes into it, like the costs involved, and, you know, the stress, and you know, whatever else, and it's a lot. Yeah,
and I think too, I mean, I've read stories or statistics, I should say, is that marriages really aren't lasting that long these days, and so the average, they're hitting like 5 years, and then they're quitting, and, like, they'll be on their second marriage still in their 30s.
Yeah.
So
I have a couple friends that are like that.
So it's interesting to me that, you know, these full-on big, like, especially here in Jersey, and I'm sure down south they do it too. I don't know anywhere else that does Jersey or does weddings like Jersey. I mean, in these big, huge halls with tons of food.
And hundreds of people.
And, you know, now everything is like they have destination bridal showers and bachelor parties
that's a big thing.
Bachelorette parties.
Like, you got to do it.
You have to do it.
Like, you got to spend a weekend someplace.
Yeah. So
I'm not hating on it. Like, if you want to do it, cool.
No, I'm not. I was just curious.
Because, I mean, most of my friends are married, and they've all done pretty much something like that so far. And I have fun, because
you're a guest.
I know I'm free.
Drinking for free.
Oh, no, I don't drink for free. At the wedding, at the bachelor party.
Oh, no.
They drink for free.
They drink for free. No, at the wedding. Yeah. No, it makes me think, too. I'm like, you know, because people would say, would you ever get married again? And I immediately say no. That doesn't mean that I'm, again, who the hell knows what will ever happen in my life. I just think the idea of having some sort of, like, certificate or, like, official paper saying that you have to be committed is what I don't necessarily need. Like, if I'm in a committed relationship,
that should be it.
That should be it.
Yeah, you're good with that.
And I'm good with that. I mean, I say that now, so.
Right. Well, I mean, I think weddings are fun.
Weddings are fun. You can have I would have, like, a commitment ceremony.
Okay. I love the party. Yeah, the party's
part
great.
of it.
You know, I'm ordained, so
Oh, you can.
I did my friend Alan's wedding back in December.
Nice.
Yeah.
How does one get ordained? Online?
Yeah, you just go online.
How does that make it official?
I don't know. I'm Reverend Mike.
Are you?
Or whatever the thing is. The Universal Life Church is the organization.
And how do you make it legit? Like, do you have to say a few things, like make an oath, a pledge?
No, you just fill out the form, and then you're good. It's like the easiest shit ever. Legit.
You better check with Alan and make sure he's really married.
Well, but he's really married because it's official in the Jersey City Hall. I know that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I had to sign it.
I always wondered that.
I had to sign it as the officiant.
Okay.
You know, but
maybe that can be another side gig for you.
Well, I'm gonna do my cousin's wedding, I think, in June.
Okay.
You know, so putting it out there. If you need a minister to come in. I'll wear whatever you need me to wear. We'll work on it together.
Yeah.
That was a big thing.
I think you would have to, right? So that make it personable.
He wasn't involved. She was involved. She was like, I just want to make sure that what we have is good. And she wrote some jokes that I thought were pretty good. And we kept those in. And I had my own jokes that I put in. But she didn't want it too jokey, of course, which I get. You want it it's like a serious thing.
Yeah.
And so it was a good balance between jokes and serious, like this is a big day for, them. They've been together for I think 10 years almost at that point.
Well,
that's I got a lot of compliments after. I was
bet.
like the
I could
third
see you
most
doing.
important person there, basically.
Well, I was just going to say the officiant really sets the tone for the whole wedding because, that's the first person who's speaking on behalf of this couple.
Right.
Right. And the first thing that you're doing before the big reception, right?
Yep.
And even before happy hour, all of that, right?
Yeah.
And so they're setting the tone, and it could make or break whether you're bored out of your mind or you're like, this guy is a knucklehead. Why did they choose him? Right.
Yeah.
Or
I did
like,
introduce
oh,
myself
you're so fun.
as, I was like, for those that don't know me, and this was her idea, so props to Robin, but I was like, for those that don't know me, I'm Mike Ham, host of the Greetings from the Garden State podcast, which you could find on Spotify, Apple, or any other place, and that got a good laugh. And I was like, that's great. And
Good.
that was really creative from her, I thought. Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, now I know where to find you if
In case you
should
change
my
your mind.
thoughts change about my
be happy
marriage.
to. And then I can come. I can come to the wedding.
And then you're a guest. Yes, you don't
Yeah.
have to leave afterwards. You can stay.
Phenomenal. Yeah. As only if there's an open bar, though.
Have you ever gone to a wedding when there wasn't?
I think once.
Yeah,
there
same.
was a cash bar.
I was like, ooh, that's not right.
I was like, I guess we're sober tonight.
Exactly. picked a wrong day to quit drinking. I think I went to one of those too. I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's
Okay, I
it's
mean,
another
they could-
expense.
just don't have a wedding then.
Don't have a wedding if
you
people can't get
if you can't afford it.
banged up at your wedding. Because that's honestly like that's my favorite part is, you have a few drinks. That's the only time I'll actually dance. But then I get hot, and then I usually the jacket comes off.
Clothes are coming off. Oh, damn.
Oh yeah, yeah. My sister's wedding, I was buttoned all the way down to here.
Oh, to the navel.
Yeah.
I think
Deep
weddings are the only place that behavior is excused. Really.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because then it's you remember.
You can do anything you want on wedding night, and then the next day be like, dude, you were a rock star. Oh my God. But if you did that anywhere else, be like, oh my God, did you see what Mike did? He was.
Yeah, right. It's like a normal party, and you're just undressing.
You shouldn't have done that. Yeah,
you
But
shouldn't.
at a wedding, completely acceptable.
Yeah, no, it's phenomenal. All right, so.
Wow. Okay.
yeah,
Good.
we gotta
Well,
wrap
you know
this one
what?
up. This one's way too long.
Yeah. Right. Well, you can cut out some of it.
No, I'm leaving all. This is all good stuff.
It's gems.
Yeah.
All gems. I think bringing it back home, to sum up, if you will, is no matter where your dating journey is, it's okay to be wherever you're at, right? But to know that you need to find yourself first before you can find your person.
100%.
That's where I'll leave that.
Yeah, the good takeaway.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna wrap it up.
Okay.
All right. So this has been Mike and the Maven. So if you want to learn more about the show, what do we say? Greetingsfromthegardenstate.com right now is the website.
I think so.
If you want to reach out to the show, mikeandthemaven@gmail.com.
Or on the Instagram.
Or on Instagram at Mike and the Maven. And hopefully by the time this episode posts, I will have actually put up a post on that account, and hopefully grown us past the 13 followers that we have. But if there's ever anything that you guys want to hear us talk about, something that you're going through, something that you just have an opinion on, you want to hear what we think, because obviously we're two smart people, one smart person, and
no, two smart people. But you can always find me on my Instagram too, at Tara Burney.
Plug. Yeah.
I'd love to hear from you and just to hear what you guys think about the topics that we have talked about.
Right.
And,
no pics.
What?
No pics.
Don't send me your junk.
No.
I don't want to see it.
I don't want to see it either.
He doesn't want to see it either.
No. But all right, cool. So we got those. We'll make sure we have those in the show notes. If you want to check those out, they'll be there. So this has been Mike and the Maven. Tara, thank you again, as always. We did it. That's now 3 episodes down. Most never make it past 7, so we got a couple more to go.
Here we go.
Mike Ham, Mike and the Maven, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next week.